let's make another Jordan Peterson video, shall we? There hasn't been enough dislikes. I like to get, thousands and thousands of dislikes per day. Only have been receiving a few hundred a day on the Jordan Peterson video. So, it's about time to get a new one out there and get some more dislikes going here because, the dislikes really pump me up. So, no, seriously, though, I wanted to make a follow-up video because I think one is warranted. Now, some of you are wondering, am I going to apologize for saying bad things about Jordan Peterson? And the answer is no. I am going to admit some oversights, that some mistakes I made. Actually, one of the commenters on that video actually had a very, very good comment that I'm going to read you that I think describes exactly where I made some mistakes and also where I didn't in regards to Jordan Peterson. But it's also really, really interesting to see the kind of people that follow someone like Jordan Peterson. It is not the kind of people I would have expected at all. And it's quite ironic that many of them are, let's say, the opposite of Jordan Peterson, that they are actually not very rational human beings and that they do not think for themselves, right? Pretty much the opposite of what he teaches. Very much postmodern. I saw so many postmodernist thinkers that were defending Jordan Peterson and crying about my video and literally asking me to take it down, right? I mean, I can't even count the number of people, and I deleted a lot of comments from that video because I did not like the nastiness that was. I mean, that should show you something, because actually a couple people, I should just left them all up. Hindsight, I would have just left them all up. But, when it got into so much of a toxic cesspool, I was like, well, I kind of want people to have discussions and not just upvote nasty comments, and then no one can see the comments that are actually relevant points, and we can discuss these things back and forth. So I started deleting the nasty comments, but it's amazing how many there were. It is just ridiculous. And again, some of the stuff I just left, but if it was just totally F you, all this stuff, I deleted a lot of those, but I'm just leaving it now at this point. Whoever wants to comment, whatever, it doesn't matter, because I think enough discussion sort of has taken place. But anyway, it's been really interesting because I was wrong on this. I would have assumed that most of the Jordan Peterson fan club would be people who had actually listened to his work, and not just listen to it, not just to the point that you could quote it, but to the point of having somewhat of a deep understanding of the principles that he espouses and actually emulating those things. But what I found was a lot of postmodernism and a lot of people actually trying to censor, ironically, censor my speech, saying that my video should be taken down and I should get cancer. I guess me getting cancer doesn't directly censor me, though it does indirectly censor me, as I wouldn't be able to speak anymore if I were dead. But anyway, they wanted the video down. So many people wanted the video down. They said, you should take this video down. And I thought, wow, that's interesting. Not only that, but they said, see how many people dislike this video? That's a clear evidence that you're wrong. And that you should take the video down. Because all these people disliked it, you're wrong and you must take the video down. Now, I don't know. Do I need to tell you how ironic that conclusion is? Guys, think for yourselves here. What is, again, I'm not an expert on Jordan Peterson, but I've watched a lot of his lectures and I've read his book. Well, he's got multiple books, but I read his main book, okay? And I do not think that he would be very much in support of the idea of trying to censor someone's speech and to have them change their opinion or take their video down because the masses have decided that they are wrong and people are calling them names. I don't recall Jordan Peterson actually doing that at any point. So anyway, I'm going to read the comment here, and I will say before I read the comment that I did project on Jordan Peterson. It's true. I kind of wanted him to be a little bit more of what I wanted him to be, and that's probably the mistake that I made primarily in the video, which was projecting on him being a stoic and being the kind of man's man that I would expect someone who has a very right-leaning, almost like libertarian type of thinking to have, but he wasn't. He was definitely a weaker man than what I had expected. And I should have known that. I should have known that from the many hints that he left in many of the things that he said in many of his lectures and whatnot. So, again, I'll have to say this as well, which is that I do like I like Jordan Peterson as a person. I like him as an intellectual. I like a lot of what he says. I don't agree with 100% of it, of course, but so many of the things that he says are things that need to be said in society. He's took a stand on basically forced speech or compelled speech, and I think that was great and needs to be done. And he's taken a lot of fights that needed to be taken into the ring, and he's done it in a respectable way and a sensible, rational way. So these are, and he's helped a lot of people, honestly. A lot of the things that he said are things that have completely changed people's lives, and that's great, and that's awesome, and there's a legacy that he will leave definitely because of that. So I don't wish any ill will on him either. I hope that he recovers and he's better, and that he continues making lectures and continues to help people, because he's really, genuinely, I would say, a good guy and someone who is very smart and really rational and has a lot of great ideas and a lot of ability to communicate those ideas and to defend those ideas rationally, which is what we need. We need rational discussion about things. So and that's also kind of part of the reason, like, in the spirit of, yes, the last video was a bit clickbaity, sure, okay, but we're on YouTube, guys. What do you expect on YouTube, guys? Okay? So, I try to be as pretty much as genuine and transparent as I can. But yeah, I'm going to use, a thumbnail or whatever to get more clicks on a video, because I'm not a fucking idiot, all right? Now, damn it, I was trying to not use profanity so that I wouldn't have the filter thing, but it's fine. It's all right. We'll reach whoever we reach with this. But yeah, so anyway, what I was saying was that, I don't know. Let's just go to the comment. Let's just jump in there. Karana said this. Maybe you didn't mean to, but you are straw manning Jordan here. Okay, and I think that's true. And you simply don't know enough about Jordan's teachings. If you think he ever implied being addicted to drugs is strange. Okay, all right, that's true. I mean, yeah, I suppose so. Like when I went back and I looked at some of his lectures, and I knew that he had admitted it, that he was on drugs and that he put his daughter on drugs early, in many of his lectures and in many of his talks. So I knew that. But in some way, yeah, I don't know. I guess I said that he was hiding it in the video, and that's not exactly true, but it's sort of true. So what I was trying to get at was the idea that he's not being forthright about it. Like, he is addicted to these drugs and prescribing these drugs, and he's still preaching about avoiding escapism, but he's using escapism in his life, but he's just not calling it that. And so that's what he's really hiding. I think a lot of people took that to mean that he was hiding the use, and he wasn't really hiding the use of it. Okay, he was more justifying it. So he says here, this is a man who said things like, paraphrasing, why some people take cocaine is a wrong question. The question is why some people don't, why all of us don't take cocaine. And that's, yeah, I remember watching that video where he said that, and that was a good lecture. And it's real interesting, yeah. So he did say those things, all right? So fair point, okay? He was also very open about the fact that he approved of his 12-year-old daughter being put on psychotropics and opioids, such high doses, even her shrinks were uncomfortable with it. And again, this is true. I do remember hearing this. And this is where, again, this was more of the valid criticism that I should have offered rather than him being a fraud, because, fraud was not the correct word. He's not a fraud. He's representing somewhat what he's not, right? Because in some principles, but definitely in the use of drugs, he's not a fraud, because he is saying that, he's saying that these things are okay, that it's okay to be on these prescription medications that mess with your brain chemistry, and these are a solution, that they're not escapism, apparently. And, so apparently in that area, he is somewhat consistent. I only say somewhat. I only give him that much because, again, he's preaching against escapism, yet this is escapism, whether he believes it or not. It's a justification here. So yeah, and so this is, pretty damning evidence here. I mean, this is something that I just have to completely disagree with him on, right? So he says here the last thing this would do is paint Jordan as a stoic in the narrow sense of the word. And yeah, that's true. Jordan Peterson is not a stoic. I projected there. I wanted him to be a stoic because I like the guy, because I wanted him to be something that I saw of high value instead of just taking him as he is. And that was my biggest mistake for sure. Okay. He also wasn't a leader or guru. He was and is an intellectual and clinical psychologist who at one point resonated with people on a world scale. And this is very true. This is a very true statement. Okay. Also, Jordan doesn't see the drugs he used and approved to be given to his child as escapism, but medical treatment. I personally disagree with him and think he is wrong, but psychiatry agrees with Jordan. Now, psychiatry is nothing but very dangerous quackery, but that's another topic for another time. The point is he wasn't taking cocaine or heroin. Okay, and I have to agree with this statement, even though a lot of you are going to, this is where your finger hits the thumbs down. But it's quackery. Psychiatry is completely nonsense and bullshit, and prescribing medications for things that need to be fixed within ourselves prevents us from actually fixing the thing. It is treating the symptom instead of the disease, and this is where Jordan and I depart, definitely, right? This is where, again, it comes down to the Stoic philosophy. I believe that, I would say that my life philosophy is one that life is a challenge, and that's a good thing, and you should grow from that, and that's what life is about growing through these challenges, and that's what makes life worth living. And Jordan's viewpoint, a lot of what he has said, is that life is suffering, and you should figure out how to suffer the least within life, which is, very nihilistic, I would say. But, I think that's the difference there, right? Jordan is not a stoic. Okay. So, on the other hand, I don't think the criticism of Jordan's foolish daughter is a low blow. He chooses to advertise and prop up his daughter and her foolish and bizarre personal and nonsensical grifter business decisions. He lets her introduce herself as the CEO of his company, so the scrutiny and criticism of what she does is necessary and fair. And yes, see, this is absolutely correct, right? Because she is representing him, and that's the problem, is that she's not, you have to judge him by the person that he allows to represent him and his brand, and that is his daughter. Yes, a lot of people point out, he can't control his daughter, or you're, sexist, race, whatever. Yeah, I agree. You can't control, but you can control the public relationships that you have, and having her represent his companies and being the CEO of his company, that's his choice, and it's not a good picture for him and for what he's preaching. He's talked many times about traditional family values and the image she's presenting. Okay, and some people said, well, she's posting swimsuit pictures or whatever. The image she's presenting. Plus, I didn't even go into the whole what's his name, Tate, but her boyfriend is this guy that is definitely not the kind of person that Jordan Peterson would. He's totally different than Jordan Peterson. Let's put it that way, okay? And he's definitely a pickup artist, and just go to here. Let's promote his channel, okay? Now, when I say this, guys, I actually want to get this guy on my channel because I want to hear what he has to say, because he's got some interesting points. He's very unfiltered. Again, with all the things that Jordan Peterson has said, all right, about family and and all these things, that's kind of a pretty big slap in the face. Okay, that's just how it is, right? And like I said, she's fair game for public criticism because of this. So he also put his parenting out there for all of us as public information. So criticisms of decisions like putting his daughter's developing mind on high doses of psychotropics and opioids is very necessary and fair, which again, true. Okay, I love Jordan, but not telling him the truth isn't loving, it's weak. And that's 100% true. There's so many people that's what surprised me about this video in the comments. And granted, again, like I said, should I have called him a fraud in the video? No, not really. I mean, I would say that some of the behavior. Well, I use the Nicholas Taleb. I can never get his name 100% correct, but anyway, I use his interpretation of, when you see fraud and you don't say fraud, then you're the fraud. So that's really the way that I was talking about that. And some of the things I think would constitute fraud, but overall I would agree it's a strong word. Hypocrisy would have been a better word, hypocrite. But the issue with that is that that's that one. Which one is actually going to get someone to click and watch the video? If I say that he's a fraud, or if I say that he's a hypocrite? Okay, like I said, we're on YouTube here, guys. This is YouTube. Okay, I got to remind you where you're at. You're on YouTube. Okay, this is not like, I don't know where you think you are, that you think that someone's not going to make a video with the title and a thumbnail that is going to get clicked. That's the fucking YouTube game. Do I want to play this game? No, but am I going to play this game? Yeah, I guess so, because you know what? You got to, right? So, all right. Anyway, it's like marketing, right? It's like marketing. It's like, do you really want to do marketing and make a sales page and have pop-ups and get people's email addresses and stuff? No, it's not a lot of fun. It's kind of cheesy, but at the same time, hey, do you actually want to run a business and actually make money and actually have some kind of business function? Because otherwise it's not going to work. You got to actually do marketing in order to sell things. As much as you might have a distaste for marketing. So, all right. Anyway, we're going on lots of tangents here because we're just free balling this one. All right. So he said here, I wish there was more intelligent and loving criticism of Jordan for his own good as well as for the benefit of people learning from him. And yeah, oops, my bad. I'm not that guy, okay? I'm not the guy that's going to give a more intelligent and loving criticism of Jordan. I don't care that much to do that, I guess I would say. I care about the people okay, you people who are watching this, especially my subscribers and Bulldogs, because I want you to see when someone who says a lot of good things and has a lot of great ideas and who is really a good person and someone who you should be listening to, I want you to see when there's also parts of what they're saying that are incorrect and that they're not living their life consistent with what they're preaching. Okay? And a lot of people say, whoa, he is living his life consistent. No, he's not. He is not. Absolutely, he is not. Okay? He's not taking care of him. He's teaching other people how to take care of themselves, and he's not taking care of himself. Not really. Okay? He's not dealing with his deep issues. He's not handling things and handling life in the correct way. Okay? Coming from someone who, like I said, I coach guys. I've been doing this for a long time. I completely preach the Stoic philosophy and have completely lived it in my life. I mean, when I'm here, when I'm doing what I'm doing, all right, I show you guys. You guys see me training for an ultra marathon, running 70 miles a week and posting videos here and posting it on my Instagram. You see me every day showing up. I'm showing you my financials from my business, right? Like, I'm not really hiding anything from you guys. And I make mistakes still, and I admit those mistakes when I make those mistakes, because we all fuck up. I fuck up all the time, okay? But I'm living by my principles that I'm saying as much as possible. There's no departure from it. The same thing I tell you, all the advice I'm giving you is the advice I'm giving myself, and then I'm living by it. Okay, that was really the problem with Peterson and this whole thing with the Carnivore Diet, and then ending up in the hospital and being addicted to those drugs, is that he was really not living by those same principles. And that's unfortunate, because the principles that he espoused and talked about were great, and they are great, and he has a lot of great things to say, and I wouldn't ignore what he says just because he wasn't living by those principles. But at the same time, like I said, the reason why I would care about this situation at all is just so that you guys can see and know not to follow someone blindly. And the better example, actually, so what ended up happening was, if you looked at the comments on this video and all the people that are like, oh, I'm unsubscribing and all of these things, and really the nasty passive aggressive comments and the calls for taking down the video and the calls for saying that, hopefully I get cancer or that someone I know gets cancer. So these are, this shows you what the people who blindly follow someone become. You just become an echo chamber. You just become an ideologue, and you don't actually start thinking for yourself, or you give up that faculty, right? And the biggest thing that I had to say about this, which I probably should have started this whole video with, which is this. This is the danger of this whole thing, okay? Is that you hear someone who's intelligent and you hear their message and it's good, okay? And you maybe watch some videos and you're like, okay, I like this guy. Okay, and that's fine. So you transition from hearing what they say, because of what they've said, you decide you like the person, okay? But then something weird happens, and all of a sudden it switches, the relationship switches, and you go from hearing what someone says and deciding that you like the person to hearing the person and deciding you like what they said, right? Deciding you like what that person said because it came from that person. And that's the dangerous place. That's where many of the Jordan Peterson followers fell off the cliff, because these guys, it was great. Okay, they were listening to Jordan Peterson, they were improving their lives. It's awesome. That's very, very good. And Jordan Peterson was making a great impact on them. And then at some point, it switched over to, I love Jordan Peterson and I'm a Jordan Peterson fan. And then so whatever he says or whatever he does, it must be correct. And that's the problem with all religions. That's the problem with everything that we ever... This is why we can't have nice stuff, okay, guys? Because you guys fucking ruin it. You guys fucking ruin it. Because it happened with Dianetics, right? Remember, L. Ron Hubbard, okay, Scientology? He even at one point was like, okay, I wasn't like serious about creating a whole religion. And then they're like, no, you don't know what you're talking about, dude. This is what you wrote here is right. And then they go off on their own thing, right? And, so many different cults, right? If you go back in time and back to the days of Jesus, right? Okay, Jesus probably would be appalled at what people interpreted what he said and what they're doing now. And I mean, heck, like, let's not even look at now. Let's just look at the Crusades, man. Look at the Crusades, okay? Do you think that that's what he had in mind? You know what I mean? Like, so again, I guess you can't blame the guy. You have to blame stupidity of people. But anyway, there's the lesson in there is that it's just, gosh, do not worship a person, okay? Do not worship a person. Ideas, great, but those ideas can be challenged, right? If you cannot hear a criticism about a person, if you have to unsubscribe from a YouTube channel, and if you have to spew vitriol and hate and write paragraphs about, how mean someone is for criticizing a public figure, then you're a fanboy. You are a problem, okay? You need to address that shit, because you're not thinking for yourself. You've turned off. You should be able to hear the rational criticism, even the irrational criticism of someone else. I mean, gosh, imagine if the criticism were turned on you. I think you would probably crumble, okay? So, and then I'll address one last point here before I finish up this and the comment here, which is this, is that, another really, I think, salient point that a lot of people made, a lot of people complained about the fact that, oh, John, you're so mean. You're kicking a man when he's down. His wife had cancer, and that's why he got on the drugs, or he increased his prescription of drugs. He was suffering with a medical condition, with depression and anxiety, and God forbid you should ever have to go through that, and you don't know what it's like, and all of these, have I hit your point? Have I hit all of the comments, in regards to that? You get what I'm saying? And here's the deal. I get it, okay? It's not like I don't have empathy for the dude at all, okay? I mean, I hope that Jordan is doing good. I hope that he's doing better. I hope that he recovers. I hope that his situation in life improves. I hope that he lives a very happy and fulfilling life, and that he is able to get back and start doing what he's doing again. And I mean, I hope there's a slight change in his message, and I don't like the idea that he's all for prescription medication, but I honestly wish well of the guy, okay? At the same time, just because, like, I feel like he put himself in the situation, okay? If he were a stoic, and again, I projected onto him of being a stoic, and that's, I think, perhaps why I use the word fraud, is because that was my mistake of projecting onto him, and then he didn't meet my standards, okay? So, but he could have dealt with life a lot better, and that's the problem. It's like all these guys are looking to him to teach them how to live their life, and he's not doing it right, okay? He fucking messed himself up. All right, I understand people get cancer. It happens every day, okay? People's wives get cancer. It's not easy. But the answer is not to go to the bottom of a bottle or a pill bottle and drown your sorrows away or escape reality or, make your anxiety go. Like, to medicate yourself in that way, especially being a psychologist, a clinical psychologist, especially, having access to that, like, he should know how addictive those drugs are, that that's physical dependence. Yes, I agree. But there's a mental dependence as well. And that's a problem. It's like, yeah, and I'm not sure that I believe some of the stories that a junkie will say anything. And, I just called Jordan Peterson a junkie. But honestly, anyone can be reduced to being a junkie when they're on such a physically addictive drug. And the fact that he's saying that there were these reactions to it and autoimmune, I don't know. I can't say that he's lying about that, but I'm not 100% convinced about these justifications and rationalizations. He's really good at rationalizing. He's great at it. He's awesome at it. That's why he's such a great debater, right? So anyway, what I'm trying to say here is that I empathize with his situation, and I'm not trying to kick a man when he's down. I would say it to his face. If he jumped on the channel, I would talk to him, and I would say these exact things, and I would want him to address these things. It would be great because we'd have a dialogue about this, but he's not here, and he's probably not going to jump on this channel, okay? And so I'm going to say my piece, whether he's in the hospital or not. I feel like he put himself there, okay? So he's totally responsible for those actions. It didn't just happen. Life didn't just kick him in the nuts. He didn't handle life correctly, and he jeopardized his entire life, and there were a lot of people counting on him at that point, okay? And he chose to go on interviews and to become a public figure, right? He could have turned them down. So he did choose that life, and then he let a lot of people down because he destroyed himself, all right? And so is it his self to destroy? Yeah, 100%. But I'm just saying the facts remain that still a lot of people were counting on him, and he did fail them. And maybe you think, oh, he didn't fail me. Well, that's fine. It's great because in some ways he didn't, because in some ways he's helped you and helped me and taught many people great things, and that's awesome. But in other ways, certainly there is a perspective that he did fail people, okay, because of the expectation that he had created and the standards that he wasn't living by. So yeah, I don't consider it to be nasty to talk about him, because I would say it to his face. Okay, it's not like I'm talking behind his back, and he's an open invitation to come and defend himself and to talk about these things and point out where I'm wrong, and we'll have a discussion about opioids and about drugs and escapism and all those things and Stoic philosophy. Sure, I welcome it, and maybe he will trounce me in a debate because he's a very good rhetorical speaker. Okay, that's fine. But that's what this is about. That's what life is about. This is what we're supposed to be doing, is having open discussions, not trying to shut down people's speech because we don't like it. And I know he would agree with that because he's a wise person. All right. So anyway, I'm not against him. I don't hate him. I don't not empathize with the situation. I understand it, but it doesn't let one off the hook just because life is hard. And you also don't know. Well, and again, and I'll say this, right? I shouldn't have to say this because it doesn't matter, but I suffered from anxiety, okay? Severe anxiety and panic attacks, okay? At one point, and I've got videos, you can look back at my history of videos, I was afraid to fly in airplanes, like terrified. I wouldn't go on roller coasters. I had a lot of phobias and all this kind of social anxiety, all kinds of anxiety, right? And I got prescribed some medication for the anxiety, and I did not take it. I did not take it. I figured it out myself. And I'm not going to go into the story of how, if you're curious, I'll be happy to help you. And I'm sure I've got a video where I talk about how to overcome your fears. Like, go search on that and you'll find it. But that, that's where I can come from, saying that, yeah, I was prescribed it but I don't think there was something chemically wrong with my brain. Okay. And yes, life was hard, but I was able to fix that. All right. And maybe there's a very, very small percentage of people where there is something actually chemically wrong with their brain. But I maintain the position that in most cases of depression, and even clinical depression and bipolar disorder and anxiety, that the answer is that that condition is what causes the imbalance of chemicals in the brain, and that it's not the imbalance of chemicals in the brain that's causing the condition. Maybe it's a self-replicating condition, but it's the state of the human that causes that in the first place. And also, it's cyclical. We're supposed to experience these things in life, many of them, like depression, and even for longer bouts of time. And a lot of people can't handle it. They can't hack it, and because they don't think it's part of life. And again, I coach and counsel a lot of people, and I've helped a lot of people, and I've talked to people who are suicidal on the phone. Okay, I don't know how many of you guys have done that, have spent your weekend talking to someone who you don't know from the internet who's suicidal and gotten on the phone with them, because I've done that multiple times. And anyway, that's what I got to say about that. So let's just finish this up real quick here. All right, so he says here, lastly, he is a brilliant mind and a brilliant psychologist, but no more a perfect human than any of us. So I don't think his problems now or his foolish and messed up kid take anything away from the brilliant ideas and teachings he gave us. And I agree with that 100%. I agree with this 100%. Okay. And this is true historically, right? If you look at, a lot of, who do you respect? Do you respect Martin Luther King Jr.? Whoa. Take a look at some of the stuff he said, and take a look at some of the stuff he did, and some of the stuff that he was involved in as a pastor of a church and his ladies. Okay, but you know what? It's fine. He's still what he said and what he did is there's validity to it. Okay, take Martin Luther. All right, I mean we like Martin Luther if you're Christian, because he nailed those things to the church, right, and fought the Catholic Church, the grip of the. But you know what? Take a look at some of the other stuff that Martin Luther said. Take a look at him flagellating himself and some of the other writings that he wrote. They're pretty crazy. Not exactly the guy that you put him up to, but anyone is like that. All right, so and we'll take a look at this edit. He says, edit 2.0, I went back and checked, so to be precise in my speech, nice. Michaela introduces herself as her father's associate and business partner, and a CEO of 2 companies of her own. My point about criticizing Jordan's associates and partners with very public profile being both fair and necessary still stands. Okay, and I think that's totally valid, and that's the issue there. And again, with the carnivore diet thing, I actually think carnivore diet is good. I mean, I've had Frank Tufano on this channel, okay? Now, again, do I agree with everything that Frank Tufano says? No, I don't, of course, but I agree with some of the stuff that he says, and I think he's a smart guy, all right? And I know a lot of people doing carnivore diet. I tried it for a little while. I think there may be some really good health benefits to doing that. I've tried a lot of different things, but the representation that his daughter especially is making about it is not accurate, okay? And it's not good, and that is, that, if anything, constitutes fraud. That could be it, okay? I don't have evidence to prove that it didn't cure the things that she says it did, but it just surely doesn't seem, it definitely didn't work for Jordan Peterson in the way that it was portrayed. And maybe he honestly thought it was working, and maybe it was a placebo effect. Maybe, who knows? But, as much as I think the carnivore diet could work and could be a healthy diet, I think there's some pretty good arguments against it. There's some fairly good arguments against it. I'm not doing it now, okay? I'm running ultras. I'm doing a fairly high carbohydrate, high protein diet. Anyway, my whole point about it is that, that was not, it wasn't very accurate. And plus, when he said he didn't sleep for 2 weeks, like, that's not accurate. That's just a blatant lie. Like, you would die if you don't sleep for 2 weeks, right? There's documented cases of it. So it's, yeah, not everything is what it appears, right? And that's the problem when you have someone who is so wise, okay, and who is so smart, who is such an intellectual. Sometimes he's too smart for himself. He can fool himself. He can rationalize and make these rationalizations better than anyone, where he's the only one who knows, and he doesn't even know anymore because he can convince himself of the things that he wants to believe and then convince others of those same things as well. And that's the kind of danger of it. So anyway, that's all I think I have to say about Jordan Peterson. If you guys got more questions about this and you think I'm still painting an incorrect picture, let me know. But don't come in here as kind of a Jordan Peterson fanboy and think that he's infallible and that you need to be his defender. He can defend himself. The dude certainly can defend himself. And if he wants to, I'm open to it. I mean, I seriously doubt that he will. I'm not a huge channel here, okay? And I'm speaking mostly to my kinds of people, right? The kind of people that want to be a Bulldog and want to have a stoic mindset. In fact, if you're one of those kinds of people, if you listened all the way to this point, you probably are. Click the subscribe button if you haven't, and check out the links below where I've got a whole community, the Bulldog mindset. I'm sure that in what I'm presenting in this video, I'm not 100% accurate. Okay, I'm not 100% correct. Never am I 100% correct, but I've got some valid points, and unless you can convince me rationally otherwise, then I'm going to hold those same rational views, and I would expect you to do the same. But, telling me that I'm an awful person, that I need to take the video down because so many people disliked it, wow, that doesn't convince me. I don't care if 99% of the world thinks I'm wrong, okay? If I have a rational thought and I have a process of coming to that conclusion and it fits the bill for me, you can convince me. If 99% of the world says, you know what, John, you tried to prove that 1 + 1 = 3, and here's the proof that 1 + 1 = 2, and here's how it works, then yeah, sure, then I'm going to change my mind and be convinced. But if you say, John, you said that 1 + 1 = 3. 99% of the people that we polled said that 1 + 1 = 2. So therefore, you're wrong. I'm going to give you the finger. I'm going to be like, yeah, fuck off. I'm not going to change my viewpoint because 99, that's not evidence. Show me something. Rationally argue with me. Tell me why that I'm wrong and why you're correct. And that will change my viewpoint. Heck, it doesn't have to be 99%. Even I could be with the majority, and there could be 1%, one person that is able to change my mind because they have the only rational viewpoint and make the logical argument. Anyway, too much. This has gone on long enough. Let's end this thing.